Wondering if we'll have anyone joining us. It's kind of late. Today we're printing arms and legs. Wondering if we'll have any fun. I'm gonna turn that off. Joining us. There we go. So a couple of legs, some arms, and a face. It's a little tiny section, but a crucial part of the design because it's the figure. I don't usually print like flesh tones in my prints, so I'm a little worried that if I don't have the right tone. Let's try one out. Come on. It's a larger sheet here. These are really small areas, so I just have to be careful that I'm putting pressure in the right spot. So those are, this looks really reddish and pink, but there's going to be a lot of dark values that go into this figure, and I think it's it won't pop out as much. So I have to really try to figure out like what this print is going to look like, because this half of the print isn't even started yet. So I think that looks pretty good. I think I'm just going to go with that. So we're just doing a little bit of paste, 2 tiny dots, and barely any pigment at all. Just a little bit each time. Just get a nice little thin, transparent flesh tone. This is the second impression on these arms and legs and the face. Just try to keep it real subtle. You can see the first impression is very light. This is a larger size print for me as well. I don't print usually at this scale. Oh, it looks really warm, and it's like focused on that area right now. But as I mentioned, there's going to be some really dark values in this figure, and then this rock structure that's going to be in this negative area here, this white space, is going to be very dark and warm, like warm orange, and almost some black areas. It's going to be really intense. So that will make this reddish color not so vibrant. Plus, it always, after the paper dries, it usually it gets a little bit less intense, maybe one shade lighter as well. So this is a reductive print. This is I'm using one main block. This is the main block for the landscape and the sky and the rock structure. And I'm doing these smaller little pieces for the figure. So these are the arms and the legs and the face, and then this is the clothing and the helmet and his shirt and pants that he's wearing. So these are just little jigs that I made just for this really specific area. So I don't have to waste too much material. Someone leave a comment in the chat for me, please. Let me know you can hear me. Just give me a thumbs up or something. This is my second live stream, and this is new to me. So I'm trying to work out some kinks. I did figure out how to do it horizontally, the screen. So I've already improved slightly from my last one. So if anyone's out there, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Because the sheet's so large, you gotta really be careful. Looks good, sounds good. Thanks, Jim. Appreciate that. I've been researching how to do this properly. There's not tons of information on YouTube about live streaming with just your iPhone. So I have iPhone, and then I have my tablet opened up on my page, like to the live stream, so I can read the chat. So yeah, this is a reductive print. I'm finished with the sky and the landmass here area. I'm working on the figure next, and then I will tackle this big rock feature last. So I've already done about, I think, 12 impressions on this one. So this is a long project. I'm just kind of slowly working it, and hopefully it turns out. As with these reductive prints, you don't really know how the final result is going to look. You don't know if it's going to be real successful or not. You see something here. Yeah. Just had to see something going on over there in the other room. So there we are. Doesn't look so bad. I think I'll be happy with that color choice. So I only have about 15 sheets for this edition. There's enough paste and pigment on these little blocks that I don't need to apply pigment and paste every time. I could just kind of scoop it up off the edges. And that way it keeps the edges clean. And you use all the pigment that's on your already on the block. So if you see it building up off on the sides, you can kind of just scoop that up into your brush and reapply it. Using a really small brush, number 5 today. Thinking any pigment on that top leg. Did I forget it? Let's just do that again. Just get that one last section there. Better. We got a few people in here. Please leave questions or just say hello. And let me know where you are in this world. It's always interesting. It's 9:40 in New York City right now for me. Just put our son to bed about 40 minutes ago. And I've been meaning to get this little impression done for a while, so I thought this was a good time to do it. Hello. See, I've got 7 of these done already. I think I got about 8 more to go. I'm letting these dry. After every impression, I let these sheets dry, and then I re-moisten them just to keep it really consistent. And because there's so many impressions, I don't want to keep the paper damp the whole time because it could get some issues with mold. So I just do the impression and then I dry them out fully. And it seems to work well. I guess you guys are looking at it this way today. Horizontal. Yeah, it's really fun to see these reductive prints slowly come to life. I think the clouds, the cloudy and the little blue sky that's popping through, that hazy distance in the horizon and the green trees in the distance. It's going to be a really nice backdrop. Hey, nice to meet you too. What's your name? Thanks for watching. I have to figure out how to include the chat into the replay, because after this live stream, YouTube puts up the replay as just a video so other people can watch it. But I need to figure out how to include the chat in that. So that's my next goal, is to figure that out. Maki from Japan. Nice. Welcome. It's got to be in the morning there, in the morning time. Is it like 9 o'clock there or something? Is it a full 12 hours? I don't know. It's already Monday morning for you. It's so cool that someone in Japan could be watching me do this with only a 10-second delay. It's pretty amazing. Just try to be consistent with each one. Same amount of pace, same amount of pigment, same amount of pressure for each print. Keep it as close as I possibly can. A little variety is okay, especially with a limited edition run. I lay this down, I have to be gentle so that paper doesn't move. I'm holding the paper over here. You can see this, my finger's down here. Just holding it on this piece of registration so it doesn't slide around. That back arm here didn't get much pigment, so I'm just going to brush it a little bit. Lay this back down and hit it again. bit. Should help. It's a little better. Though I made the face darker, but that's alright. So make sure we get enough. Well, if you're watching this in the States, especially on the East Coast, if you're watching this, it could definitely put you to sleep. It's not that exciting. It's a nice and even impression on that one. So little tiny dots of pigment and paste. Which mountain did I climb? This was an area that's about an hour and a half north of New York City. We call it the Gunks, short for Shawangunks, which is a Native American name. It's near the Hudson River, and the nearest city is New Paltz. There's a college there, and it's about an hour and a half north of where I live in New York City, and they have really good rock climbing. I was actually there yesterday climbing, and I've gotten out this spring 3 times already. So 3 weeks in a row I've gone, and it's something I really enjoy doing. It's really nice being up on the cliff, these beautiful views of the Hudson River Valley in the distance. That's what's back here. And the area, the Gunks, is mostly known for traditional climbing, meaning you have to put in the gear into the wall to protect yourself as you're climbing up. There isn't many bolts, or there's like no sport climbs. And sport climbs are like routes that are bolted, similar to what you'd find in the climbing gym. Like every 5 to 8 feet there'll be a bolt. This place does not have any of that climbing. It's just all trad climbing. And it's like 2 to 3 pitches tall, the roots, so you can get about 200 to 300 feet off the ground at the highest point of the cliff. And then after you get to the top, you have to rappel back down to the ground. I've been climbing there for probably 12 years now. 12, 13 years. So my wife, before we were married, she got me into rock climbing. And little did she know that when we went to that rock climbing gym for the first time, I became obsessed. And that's when we first started dating, so that was 13 years ago. And we've been married for 10 years, so yeah, I've been climbing there for probably 12 years. Climbing outdoors for 12 years. And some of my best friends are all my climbing buddies now. And our families are growing up together, and it's just a really, really positive sport, and it's a positive community that forms around it, which is one of the reasons why I love it so much. And so this figure that's in this print is not me, it's actually my partner. He's a good friend of mine. I was actually climbing with him yesterday. My people, we have 5 people or so. What's the clear? Hey, print looks great. Thanks, Calvin. Appreciate that. The clear liquid is, it's called rice paste. I'll show you. I have it from, this is from Japan. It's like a glue. It's like a water-based glue, essentially. It's like a synthetic rice paste. You can actually make it out of rice if you want to. Out of like rice starch. You can make your own paste. But you can run into problems if you make your own from actual rice, because then your paper is more likely to grow mold and fox in the future. So this like water-based glue stuff is like a little more synthetic, I think. You can also just use like nori. I have a couple different kinds. This is like the Yamato sticking paste. It's like paste. You can use this stuff, just dilute it with some water. And you could pretty much, you could just use this as well. It's the same thing. It's just paste. And that creates like a nice, when you put this paste down, there is a little bit of water mixed in with it. But when you mix your pigment in with it, it just keeps a nice even film on the surface of the wood. Kind of holds the pigment in place. But it also acts a little bit as a binder. So then when this dries in the fibers of the paper, it will hold your, kind of holds the pigment in place. Makes it a little bit more permanent, I think. I'm pretty sure. At least that's what I think. But without it, you get some, without the paste, you'll get like a, more of a sesame, called sesame, I forget the name of it at the moment, but kind of a blotchy, watery appearance. And I'm just going for a nice smooth, even application of pigment here. Yeah, I've read a bunch of books. I need to make a list of the books I recommend. But I mostly watched a lot of Dave Bull YouTube videos. I have read several books. I did take a intaglio printmaking class in college. And for my last project, I decided to do a reductive woodblock print with Western Printmaking ink as my final project. And I just did that on my own. So that was kind of the first time I used a woodblock for printmaking. Mostly just watching Dave Bull. And I made some lino cuts first, some reductive lino cuts to kind of get comfortable with carving and printing. And then I finally moved to the wood blocks, the water-based mokuhanga style. But I studied mokuhanga probably for, I don't even know, 3 to 4 years before I even attempted to print. Yeah, no problem, Calvin. Thanks for your questions. And thanks for checking in. Yeah, I'll have to come up with a list of books that I recommend and have them on my website maybe. And I can refer people to that. Yeah, but if you can carve lino and you can print with lino, you can definitely do mokuhanga as well. It's just a different material. Applying, this part of it, the printing part of it, with the brushes and the pigment and the paste, it takes some time to figure it out, the ratios, and you'll make a lot of mistakes. Once you figure it out, it's not that bad. And this print that I'm working on now is going to turn into the rock features will actually be an oil-based pigment. So this will be a half reductive mokuhanga print, half reductive woodcut with oil-based ink. And you are now the first people to know that, because I haven't told anybody. I'm really trying to utilize the reductive block and get the most out of a single block, and doing half of it reductive to a dark value, and then coming back over and working again with oils. You know, I can almost get a really interesting composition with both, I think. I've done it once before with a smaller print, and this will be my second time doing it. Let's see if I have one bill. I don't want to get that out right now. So yeah, that's the plan. We have 7 people. Welcome everybody. This is my second live stream ever. I plan to do more. And I won't have them scheduled. I'm just going to do them randomly at different parts of the day. And if you can join me, that's great. And if not, you'll be able to rewatch them on my YouTube channel. So if you are checking in live, please feel free to ask any questions or just let me know what you're doing. I think I'm on my last sheet here. I am. So this will be my last impression for this stream. And after this impression, I'll pull out the other print that I was talking about, where I used half mokuhanga, half oil-based pigments. Yeah, so it's coming along well. The next impression will be his clothing. It'll be a darker value of his clothing. And once the figure is finished, I will then go to this big shape that's blank here. We'll go to that shape next, which is the rock, the cliff, or the mountain. And we'll start working with that with the oil-based pigments, which is really cool. I'm excited to do that. So I'll put this in the drying rack with the rest of the sheets. And I'll pull out this print for you. You can check it out. So I'll just clear this stuff away real quick. Let's see here. It's got to be in one of these bins. You can see how I organize my prints. All my prints are in these boxes here. Prints packaged up, ready to go. It's not very organized though. I always have to go fishing for what I'm looking for here. So here's some prints. These are all ready to go. If anyone's interested, got lots of prints ready to go. I'm looking for a specific print here. Let's find it. Here's an old one. This is an old beat up. I don't know if anyone knows who that is. That's an old one though. Might be in here. Yeah, here it is. So So this is an example of something that I started. So here we are. This is of the gunks as well. I did a limited edition run, and let's get a decent one here. Show you. This one's not bad. So yeah, the sky, this little tree is, yes, the gunks. Gunks, gunks, short for shawangunks. Thanks, Jacob. Yeah, so it's the sky, and the land here is all mokuhanga, and then all of the rock feature is oil-based pigment. And I got this like really nice transparency and opacity conversation going on within one piece. So I'm going to try that with this new print. So I'll kind of do the same thing with this one, just on a larger scale. And I've decided to include a figure in this one, which I don't normally do, so I'm excited. Yeah, it's a legendary climbing spot. It's where I learned, and I've been climbing there for 12 years or so. I was just there yesterday. So yeah, I just store my prints in these plastic sterile-like containers. And here's another little gunks scene. Little snow scene I did. I got all sorts of stuff in here. Nice little beach scene. And I put these little desiccants or whatever they're called, desiccants in here. Take the moisture out. I got like 4 or 5 of those in there. Try to keep everything dry. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the completion of the print too. Should be maybe 2 weeks I'll be finished. I try to do an impression a day. So I'm thinking about 2 weeks, so definitely be done by the middle of April. So if anyone has any questions, let me know. Because if not, I'm going to sign out soon and hit the bed. But I appreciate everyone that's checked in. Welcome. Hopefully we see you back here soon. How many layers do I usually use? Depends on the print. Some prints are just like 4 or 5 impressions. Other prints can be up to 10 or 12. But this print here, because it is reductive, because it's reductive block, this is the block I'm using here. I'll turn it sideways. I've already done, I can count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I've done about 11 impressions on this one already. And there's going to be at least, and these are small impressions, like the one I did today is small, but it still takes time, and I have to cut the blocks in between. And then the rocks, say probably about another 8. So this one's going to be about 20, maybe 20 to 22 impressions altogether. So it's pretty complex. So reductive means, thanks for the question, Scalvin, appreciate it. So reductive means this all started with one block. So I carved away the lightest little areas up here, I carved that away first, and then I printed a very light gray. And then I carved away the next section from the same block, and then I printed that again. And I continued to carve away, and so like this green area was left at the bottom for the trees. So that's that little green impression you see at the bottom. And now I left that on the block just for paper support for now. But I'm going to continue to reduce and take away all this wood here, which will make up this big area, which is the rocks. So slowly I'll take away a little bit, and then I'll print it. It's just like a stamp. So I'm reducing this down by literally carving more and more wood away. So like these little areas I left alone, I didn't carve them off, but I'm finished with them. But those were these little areas for the blue sky. And so I am using these two separate side blocks for just the figure. So I line up the print. So this is what I did today. This was just the arms and the legs of the figure. And this is just a little jig I made on this little, I think it's 1/16 inch plywood. And then the wood that I glued down is specifically in the right place for the figure. And this wood that I glued down is American cherry for the arms and for the clothing of the figure. And I keep it all lined up using a registration. So I'm actually using the edge of the paper as a registration. So this edge and this edge is what I line up, and it's in a corner kento, which is, I'll show you here, it's just a little corner notch that's cut out at a 90-degree angle. And then over here is the straight edge. So every time I put down the sheet, it goes in exactly the same place. So I could carve out a big circle here if I wanted. And then when I put my sheet down, it's perfectly lined up in those two positions. And then when I put my paper down and I print, that circle that I carve away, it won't be there. So all of this green area that you can see through the sheet is perfectly lined up with the wood that's underneath. And this form of registration is called kento marks, and that's what the traditional Japanese woodblock or mokuhanga printmakers use. And I pretty much use this for everything. So that will just line up everything perfectly every time. And that's what's nice about reductive woodblock printmaking. You really do get a nice clean registration. As long as your paper is moistened equally every time, you're going to get perfectly lined up. You can see this little area I cut out here for the rope. It's like a little line. You can see that in the print. So every time I do that impression, that is super lined up. You can see it. This is the first sheet. It's got a crease in it. It had a crease in the paper, so that's the first sheet I use. Yeah, it's really cool. And there's other ways of using registration, but same thing with these little guys. These are perfectly registered the same way. I got a little corner notch here, and I got the flat edge here. Yes, this print is specifically from a photograph I took. Actually, I took a video, and I took a still from the video, and I'm figuring all of this stuff out using Photoshop, and you know, it's fun to work from photos as long as they're my own. I don't mind doing it, and you know, being there and being in the moment, I try to translate that feeling and that moment into my prints. So the photo and the video is just reference, and breaking it down into a graphic image, and you know, the slow process of printing and making decisions along the way is its own little journey. You know, even from mixing up this pigment today, you know, I had to make decisions on what colors to use, what the intensity was, and trying to figure that all out. So this is what the color would look like today, just on a piece of white paper. There's also there was a color underneath it, so you have to think about the color that's underneath it because these are transparent pigments. So there's a lot of decision making going into these prints, and I'm learning as I go along. And I don't always use photographs for my prints. I will work from sketches and from life, and I'll do a compilation of techniques sometimes as well. So yeah, here's a print I did. It's framed. This one I did purely on just a sketch I did. There's like this is an older print. It's from 2019. This was a sketch I did just sitting in a coffee shop in New York City, waiting for the rain to die down. And then I took this sketch, cleaned it up a little bit, and then I redesigned it for a key block. And then I transferred the images and made this whole print, which is mokuhanga, just from a sketch. Little thumbnail sketch in a sketchbook. So it just depends on what I'm doing. Edwin Holgate, and his prints are awesome. I'm gonna have to write that down. I don't know who that is. Edwin Holgate. Thanks for the recommendation. I'll check that out. So this stream is going on 57 minutes. So thank you for joining me, and I will be doing more of these on the regular basis. So please check in when I have these live streams, and if not, please watch them again on my YouTube channel for the replay. And have a good night, everyone. Thank you.